Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. So I forgot to mention two things. One is that when I was in Cardin, I started a little gang among the kids, a little kid gang, right, for fun, called the Double Dragons, and that's part of why the teachers were cracking down on me. The other one is I'd organize the wrestling matches into some kind of big brawl where it was safe. I didn't understand why people didn't want to do it. They wanted to play stupid games, and they were like, "Leave us alone, okay?" When I wanted to have big wrestling match brawls. The other one is when I was at the ranch. I was like, man, these things happened a long time ago. We're talking like over 30 years in some cases, right? 35. I mean, it's a long time ago. And there was either three of them or there was four of them. There was one kid I used to play with called Glenn, and there was two Hispanic kids with him. Glenn was a white kid, right, with freckles, and he took martial arts as a young kid, and so they had a big rope of some kind. I can't remember what kind of rope. I want to say it was a horse whip, but it was like some kind of rope instead. It was some kind of, and so they started running around me in circles, right, kind of wrapping me up with a rope. And so I run after one of them, right? And right before I catch them, the other ones do something. They try to wrap me with a rope or something. So I stop and I run after the other one. And for whatever reason, as luck would have it, I just happened to be just a little bit off when I was this little kid, right? That they were able to kind of rope me up and kind of laugh and jump on their bikes and run away, right? So I basically chased all three of them away. And it was strange to me because I'm like, man, how did they do that? And they really got lucky, right? And why they got lucky, it was like that, it was like they were professional, like cowboys with a lasso or something, right? Because it was strange how it all went down. Now, again, it's not like, oh, this is, I could, in a sense, I won, I chased them off, and they're laughing, but they also didn't want to get caught up with, right? They knew that, I could like damn near beat them all at wrestling at the same time, right? So one of them was like probably a little bit younger than me. The other two were probably about my age, maybe a few months younger. Maybe Glenn was a year younger than me. I don't know, but they certainly did not want me to catch up to him, right? And strangely enough, I'm also faster than any of them. So it was like they got lucky with the timing with the rope, and they got lucky with the timing escaping on the bicycle, which suggests that potentially, now it's not out of the realm of possibility, and I'm not satisfied one way or another, but I think the pattern of the abuse of technology by the state suggests that may very well be a part of this, and that could have also been involved with the other things, okay? Because the things that these kids were saying to me they seem like they come from an adult, and they seem like, they were part of the pattern of the psyop. It was just not likely that the four times I remember of someone punching me, right, and the one lasso kind of thing, and keep in mind I had an older brother who would, wrestle me down too. Okay, he was the only one who used to really beat me at wrestling, except for my little brother started catching up at some point. Initially, he was kind of useless, and I'd wrestle my older brother. My little brother would try to help out, and he wouldn't be able to do much, and we became close, right? And eventually, my little brother had some kind of growth spurt or something, some kind of muscle spurt or something. And, maybe the government was helping him out. He started getting very good at wrestling and stuff like that. And then it was later in life, when I was probably like, when I started really lifting weights before he did, that I just, take off and he could never kind of get with me again. And so by the time I started doing my own martial arts, and by the time I was 17, I was really the best hand-to-hand combat person in the world. Okay, and by the time I was doing my own martial arts, I was the best it ever was. Now, I'm talking about hand-to-hand combat transferable skills. Okay, as we look at the Olympic athletes, their technique, okay, we look at the way I thought, the emphasis I put on, what happened when I was at reform school. Okay, nobody could beat me at outdoor sparring at ever. Okay, really, I mean, I may not ever since I was 17, but I got that trophy more like when I was 15 or 16. Okay, I think it was 16 actually, and that's important to note, And I'm trying to make it so they don't take me out of context, because these people are very immature. The type of take me out of context. See, he said so himself. I mean, and you see it in such a degree that it's not that much of a concern that I still kind of don't hesitate to say these things, because no one believes. No one's going to believe George Bush and the other martial artists, quote unquote martial artists. They're not going to believe the church, the mosque, the synagogue. They're not going to believe anyone else because of who they are. They see that disingenuous nature. They see the liar in them. They see the spirit of generational lying, the propaganda, the psychology, the conformity, the cowardice. They see so many things in them that I'm confident that if someone is fooled, they're like a little kid, and they're a retarded little kid or something. So people are going to know that I'm the top martial artist ever possible. And when they hear these stories, they're gonna know either it doesn't care because they don't care because I was a little kid and I had a respectable response, and quite often those older people fucking with me, and B, they're gonna know, that the technology factored in. Okay, they had a lot of technology in the 80s when they started messing with me, and they have a lot of technology now, and I have 23 witnesses to the psychological operations against me, and that goes back. I want to say the first witness probably of the modern gang stalking, I want to say, maybe 2014 or 15. I'm throwing a number out there. So it's been like 10 years. There's 10 years of witnesses who witness, and at some point it drops off, and I don't get any on record for several years straight. So from like 2 years ago or so to 10 years ago or whatever it is, I have 23, 24 witnesses on record. You see what I'm saying? And so you can ascertain that I was also right about being gang stalked with them using technology, like the Lieutenant Larry Richardson from Santa Cruz Police Department said, okay, going back to when I was a younger child as well, living in a much richer place called Saratoga by another rich place called Los Gatos, where I had the swimming pool, and that house is worth like $5 million plus now, as the story goes. Okay, so you can imagine that they were on my bumper, living next door to the Italians and the Jews and this sort of some nice white people. And the Italian family was nice, but there was a lot of shady characters that lived in that area, and that made it clear that they had the means, motive, and ability, okay, to do that, and the patterns are there. Detectives look for patterns. Okay, when you do, what do we call this stuff when they shoot it at people, right? Ballistics, right? Let's kick the ballistics here. Let's look for the patterns. In the Bible, it talks about the patterns of teachings from God. Let's look for the commonalities, the patterns, the evidence, and there's an abundant amount. Where there's smoke, there's a fire. Where there's a whole lot of smoke, and there's the type of people who play stupid that there's a fire, playing stupid, there's almost certainly a fire.